Hello, it's Gibson Shamar, and I'm here with yet another video where we're going to talk about the show Two Stupid Dogs. You know how it goes. I'll just talk about the general overview of the show, then get into the characters, and just talk about what the show got right and what it got wrong. Thankfully, or maybe unfortunately, no, this video is going to be really short because, well, Two Stupid Dogs doesn't really have a plot. It's just a bunch of random episodes about two seriously dim-witted dogs with an adult joke here and there. So, if you thought that this show was going to be something long, informative, well,
I ain't that cute. But it's wrong!
Two Stupid Dogs is a show that it explores the adventures of Big Dog and Little Dog. Big Dog is he's a big dog. Gray, purple nose. He's mostly silent. He's a silent guy of the couple. And he's just a guy who wants to sit, chill, and relax. Whereas Little Dog is the agitated one, the hyperactive one, the one that usually gets them into trouble. So this show just explores their misadventures and their adventures throughout, well, different time periods and different locations around the world. Sometimes they actually go around the world in their adventures, which is silly but also cool. The other thing about them is that they are seriously dim-witted. And the funny part is, the little dog actually thinks that he's a genius. He doesn't think that he's dumb. He doesn't come to realize that everything he's doing is dumb. And the big dog, who should be the leader, by the way, he's braver and stronger. And he has a bit more common sense than the little dog, but the little dog is just the one in charge. And he's always just getting in the way of things. He's always getting involved in things, too. Big dog is usually like, I'm hungry. Where's the food? And then little dog is like, hey, I know where we can find food. And then takes him on a weird adventure. And that's pretty much the gist of things with Two Stupid Dogs. That's the formula for the show. The show features a kind of solid cast, but not really at the same time. The main characters are just Big Dog and Little Dog. There are also side characters like the big guy who shows up every once in a while. You have Riding Hood or Hood. I don't really remember what her name is, but yeah, she's got some kind of, I don't know what you can call it, but she's not really all there by the looks of it. And her speech pattern is weird as well. She used to talk and then scream like one or two words from her sentence. And she's always on her way to give something to her grandmother. And that leads to the Big Bad Wolf story. Sometimes it leads to the Hansel and Gretel story. But the most prominent featured character or side character is the big guy with the beard and like four teeth or something. The guy who usually screams,
Oh, isn't that cute? But it's
yeah,
wrong!
I really like that guy. He's my favorite character in the show. Seriously. Uh, yeah, I just really like him. And if you thought that I wouldn't have a favorite character in this show or any other show,
Well, isn't that cute? But it's wrong!
man, I love it when he screams. This show was made back in the 90s where being loud, screaming, and like slapstick comedy were the thing. And that's what's abundant in this show. There's a lot of physical comedy. People get into a lot of pain. They get hit by things. They get run over. I think some even die in this show. Like this, seriously, this show has quite a few dark moments. I remember this one episode where Big Dog and Little Dog were with Red Riding Hood and they stumbled upon a witch's house. They were looking for her grandmother's place. They didn't find it. The wolf ate the grandmother, and Hood and the two dogs didn't even find her anyway. So they went to a witch's house, and Hood thought that that was her grandmother. So she wanted to eat Hood, and she made the dogs feed her. She put her in a cage and then made the dogs feed her for like a year, or was it two? And then she ate her. Then she was like, I'm still hungry. And then looks at Big Dog and Little Dog, and well, she eats them too. And that was the end of the episode. I was like, I remember this episode as a kid, but even back then, I was kind of disturbed by what I saw. Like, man, that's actually kind of dark. There were several instances of that as well. There was this one time where Big Dog and Little Dog were chasing this elderly couple. I think they wanted to know what the time was because they wanted to know when tomorrow is. And this shop owner told them, well, it's the next day or something like that. So they chased this elderly couple around town in a taxi. And when they stopped, because, they were being chased, they wanted to figure out what the heck was going on. So then the dogs came out of the taxi and the lights made them look weird. So the elderly couple, I don't know if they died or not, but it sure looks like they had a heart attack and died. I just want to remind people that this was actually a show on Cartoon Network, and I'm really wondering what the heck. Things have really changed. Times have really changed since the 90s. And it's amazing, actually, what they could get away with back then. But I'm not complaining. I watched it as a kid, and, well, I turned out fine. We don't only have seriously dark moments in this show, we also have adult jokes. I mean, have a look at this one.
This is caca. Why do people come here?
I know, right? Weird. We also have a joke like this one.
Hey, look, balls.
Yeah, I know.
Very funny stuff indeed. I must say, I actually laughed out loud at all of these moments, and I was also a bit disturbed, like, okay, cool, but I was a kid when I saw this. How does that work? And I'm sure you're all wondering, like, this should not have been shown to children.
Oh, isn't that cute? But it's wrong!
See, children, a lot of these things actually go over their heads. The only problem is that we're the ones who make a big deal about these things and censor these things or just make them stop looking at these things, which in turn provokes their curiosity and leads to the possibility of them finding out what these things actually are. So I think the best approach that was taken with us as children, just let them watch. These jokes aren't explicit, they're implicit. Us adults are going to understand them perfectly. But kids, not really. No, they're not going to see this properly. I mean, I have the experiment with my 10-year-old brother. He notices these things, but it doesn't really do anything to him. Like, he's just like, okay. That's weird. So this is what you used to watch as a kid? How did they get away with doing this? Like, these are the questions he asks. He doesn't go around trying to emulate these things. He doesn't imitate them. He doesn't use them on other people. And I'm really glad that I managed to go back in time and watch this show. Not literally go back in time, but just sit down and watch it on my computer through perfectly legal means of watching them. So we also have Super Secret Squirrel, which is tacked onto the show as well. It's a nice little show. It just tells super basic spy storylines that are really cool when you're a kid watching them. Really entertaining stuff. You should have a look at it. Reminds me of James Bond a lot, except he doesn't get every girl he runs into. Not that James Bond did either, but that's the stereotype we have concerning James Bond. Anyway, it's a nice show as well and runs through the basics. Something happens, the chief calls in Secret Squirrel goes out to handle it, gets captured, escapes with the help of his bumbling sidekick, and they stop the bad guy, call it a day at the end, with a cute little joke at the end about how it may be an inconvenience to the boss. Very simple stuff, very straightforward, very formulaic as well, but innocent and fun children's TV. All in all, the show was a really nice trip down memory lane. I loved it as a kid. I did find the dogs to be annoyingly stupid, but now I'm just amused by it, and sometimes I just really shake my head. Like this one episode that I just have to highlight. A small dog was looking for a bone that was on his head the whole time, actually, and they went around the world looking for it. This one time they got into a desert, a pyramid, I think, and they found a genie. They released a genie and he gave them three wishes. So he wished to know where his bone was. The genie picked him up and told him where the bone was, that it was on his head. And he was like, "Nah, man, you're lying. It can't be on my head. I'm not stupid." And he's like, "I wish you put me down." And then he's like, "Yeah, I wish you took us out of here. I wish we were out of here now." And he left. He had three wishes, and those were all the wishes gone. I think that was the time where I just shook my head and face palmed, and I was like, yeah, but that was the theme of the show. They're just really dim-witted dogs. So I think that's pretty much all there is to say about the show. The show is very good. The animation is good. The voice acting is also nice. There's nothing out of place, nothing out of whack. The storyline doesn't need to make any sense at all. It does, but it doesn't really need to make sense because it's not a serious cartoon. It's not a cartoon that takes itself seriously. It's just for gags, comedy, and all of that. But speaking of which, innocence. I want to see what you guys think of this scene.
Ouch! Mom! Craig isn't setting the table right. Now, Craig.
I'm sorry, Mom.
That's better. Now, what have you learned?
I learned that I'm really sorry, and that I love Martha more than anyone else in the whole world.
Good. Now, you two kids kiss and make up.
Whatever thoughts you had about that scene, please leave them in the comments section. Please subscribe to the channel. Please have a look at our Facebook page. Please have a look at our Instagram page. Please check out our blog where we talk about a lot of stuff, not just the shows we watch, but movies as well. We talk about artists that are up and coming that we've worked with or are working with or will work with. We talk about basically everything that has to do with media, not just these things. So if I forgot to mention them in the list, don't worry about it. You may be able to find them there. And if you don't, eventually you will. So, have a nice day.